Hey everyone, so this is a video where I'm going to be wrapping a moon labradorite with a tree of life on the front. Everybody was waiting on some tutorials using flush cutters, needle nose pliers, both found on Amazon. I like to buy my wire from Copper Wire USA. This is 26 gauge round wire. That's going to be like the higher the number, the smaller the wire is going to be. Great for weaving wire. I'm using 18 gauge for the back of the piece for that frame. I also get my wires from Copper Wire USA and Rio Grande. So both of those sites are great if you want more of a square shaped wire, but for this video, this is from Rio Grande. And as I'm bending the wire, I like to hide my frame behind my stones when I do Tree of Lives. I know I've seen from the side and the front, just depending on what style you're going for. And I just wanted to show this stone off as much as I could, even though the tree is going to be on the front. I absolutely love to incorporate the flash with labradorites for trees. So now that I have the shape that I like on the back, and through this video, I do kind of change it just a little bit to make sure it looks exactly how I want it on the back. So once I shape it out, I get the bail ready and I pull those wires upwards to get ready for that bail. So once I got that, I'm going to start weaving the bail. However you want to do that design. You can do it like more of a thicker style or skinnier. This one I chose to do where I have the wires together, so it's a smaller bail. And I wrap it first with the 26 gauge round wire over that 18 gauge. And you'll see here I use one wire first. So I've wrapped it one and then two. And it looks like I'm going to go and I'm going to push it together. And then you're going to do it 2 times around both wires. So first you did the one wire, one side. Then now we're going together the 2. And then now 1 again. So it's 2, 2, 2. And then you just keep going with that pattern until you have it as long as you would like it for your bail. Some people like a little bit higher. I like to do it a little bit smaller. So I just keep going with that until I have completed. I would say sometimes I do around 15 of that set, just depending on the pattern. And once I get that, every couple times, you can do it if you're still learning and you're at the beginning, you could press your wires very gently, flatten them. And you see here, I'm still measuring, making sure everything fits the way I want it. But you press down all the wires and you can scoot them down very gently, or you'll get the mar on the wires. I know there's different tools that can keep you from getting the mar on the wires. I don't use those at this time. I mean, I think I might have a tool I can show you later on. And so I bent that down and shaped it the way I like it. There are bail making pliers as well. So once I got that shape, I'm bending around. So for the back, I wrap the wires towards the frame. I spread them out. And then I'm going to curl them and attach them to the frame. There's many ways you can do this. You can even put those wires on the front of the bail, do a swirl design, anything like that. So once I got that ready, I'm going to add 26 gauge round wire to attach that at the very end. Sometimes I use the branches. So this is about 26 to 30 of the 26 gauge. You can use 28 gauge, 30 gauge. The thinner they are, the more fragile they're going to be too, though. So I like to stay around 26 gauge. And as you can see, I'm now making like the different branches. And the middle of the tree, I will have to adjust accordingly to the size of the stone. That's going to be a little bit too long. But as I go, I can practice that. So once you twist all of them together, now you're separating. This is going to be for the top. I separated it into 3 sections. And we're going to twist that a couple times there. And then I have it twisting there as well. For each section, I twisted it again. And so as you're going, you're going to see how the branches are going to spread out more. And then I like to do like a zigzag style pattern. It just all depends on what style you're going for. There is no wrong way to make these trees. You could do less branches. You can do half of what I've used. So once I have them in 3 different sections, you're now going to see like go against the stone. Okay, see how long that middle looks? So I'll adjust it as I go. I just don't want to underdo it where I'm not going to have enough, because then it falls apart. So if you don't twist it enough in the middle, it could separate and fall apart. So now that I got that, I'm going to take those 3 sections and now I'm going to separate those up individually. So now you see how we have different branches and you could spread them out more depending on your style, on how you want to do it. So this is more of a rapid, smaller video tutorial. So if you're able to follow along, I do talk fast. And I'm just twisting a couple times. And as I go, I'm going to have a beautiful set amount of branches to like spread around that moon to hold it. So your main goal is when you're doing Tree of Lives, not only to make it gorgeous and how you want it, but to make sure there's enough wire to go around the stone, because moons can be a little more tricky when you're working with Tree of Lives. So you want to place those exactly where you can wrap it around, and the frame is going to hold, the stone's going to hold inside the frame. So see, I'm pointing to the middle. It's definitely way too long for me. And as I go, I'm going to untwist it, and you're able to easily do that, and you just kind of spread them out, and it makes it more for a great effect for the bottom of the tree. So as I'm spreading it out, I kind of just lightly do it, and then you're holding the middle so the whole tree doesn't unravel. You don't want that to happen, because I've had that happen before where I had to retwist it. Oh, hello. Definitely fell on that part. And so as I'm untwisting, I'm going to take a look and see how I want it to lay on the bottom part. There's just a lot of maneuvering and twisting, and these definitely do end up hurting your hands after a while. I mean, one day I was just making Tree of Life, and my hands, I couldn't even move my hands after. They're one of my favorite to make. Very universal. They're so beautiful. And now I'm showing you, and as you're going to wrap the tree around the frame, you're going to want to go from like top, bottom, side. Some people will do the tape and do just the bottom, like the painter's tape, and just the top. I like to do like one on each side, one on the top, one on the side. And I did just get my nails done, so you just noticed that. I had a wedding to go to. And so as I'm adjusting, I'm going to twist those branches the way that I like them in the middle before attaching to the frame. And you'll just see, and you could do this at the end too. So once you got your frame on there, I'm going to go from one side, top, bottom, then go all the way around, and then make it evenly distributed so the stone doesn't fall around. So how you do that is you kind of look at the back, make sure it lines up the way that you want. And you're going to take one piece of wire, wrap it over it, not under. You go over the wire, and I would say you could do 1 to 2 to 3, depending on how much frame that you have. You don't want to overly wrap in the back, and then you don't have enough space to fit your last couple of wires. That's happened before too. So I pulled with my flush needle nose pliers, and I'm still moving it around because this is your first one. So the first couple are going to be tricky, making sure that that frame doesn't move around. So I'm still situating, but once I get it wrapped around a couple of times, then I'll readjust. There's a lot of wires, a lot of things going on here. You're just going to have to hold tight with, even if you're left or right-handed, you hold tight with one hand, the frame and the stone. And then now I went, I think, once or twice over there. So this is where I'm going to add the bail swirl to the actual frame. So this one turned out really good. So once I get that, I pull it through, and that way now it's starting to become attached to the piece. And I'll just keep going around with different pieces of wire. And you can tighten them, lightly pulling them at the very end, clipping and tucking in your wires. You don't want to pull too hard, because I've definitely broke a piece of wire doing that as well. Because these are definitely not as thick as that 18 gauge you see in the back. There's a real fine. And the more you work with them, the more brittle they can be, and then that's when they start breaking if you accidentally pinch it. So work softly with it. It's not a race. These do take a little bit longer in time to make, but that way you'll have your perfect piece. So now I've wrapped the other swirl on the back of the stone. That way they can start getting attached, and you'll see how the frame starts getting more and more sturdy to the actual piece. And say you did pull a little too tight when you're making these, you can slowly, gently unravel it a little bit to move that back to where you want it on the piece. And I'm just going around, and that way I could start getting it attached. I did it once there. Yeah, so right now I'm just working on one time. So there's a lot of wire. Once I get a lot of them connected, then I'll clip the back, and I'll be tucking them at the end of the video. So I just keep clipping them, making them a little bit shorter, and then you can cut them as short as you need to. Your main goal is when someone's wearing your piece, you don't want it to scratch them or their clothes, especially if someone's wearing a sweater. That will do that. So you'll see how I bent the wires in the front, creating that awesome look for that tree. And see, the wires are still sticking out. I've now clipped them, I've tucked them in, and your piece is now complete. Let me know what you think, what else you want to see.